Jackie, you're muted.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Jackie O'Neill from TCS Access. Welcome to today's webinar titled Mastering Gmail and Google Calendar with Accessibility in Mind. This session is being recorded, and a video link will be sent out to all attendees after the meeting. Our speaker today, Harris Rosenzweig, is a seasoned expert in accessibility, and we're in for an enlightening session. Before we kick things off, just a quick note. If you have any questions or comments as we go along, just drop them in the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on it, and we'll set aside time at the end to address your questions. So without further ado, let's dive in. Harris, over to you.
Thank you, Jackie. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Harris Rosenzweig. I'm the Director of Assistive Technology Services here at TCS Access. Welcome to Master Gmail and Google Calendar with Accessibility in Mind. As Jackie said, we are recording. I'd ask everyone try to make sure that your microphones are muted. I'm just going to quickly jump in. I understand probably a good chunk of you are screen reader users, be keyboard users. Some of the hotkeys, if you're not as familiar with the Teams environment for doing some very common things you might want to do, like mute your mic, is Control, Shift, and the letter M as in Mike. If you wanted to temporarily unmute your mic, that'll be Control Space. And then turning your video on or off is Control, Shift, and the letter O. O for video. If you wanted to raise or lower your hand, Control, Shift, and the letter K. And as far as the chat, opening the meeting chat, Control, Shift, and the letter R. So I just wanted to kind of throw those out there real quick before I even began. If you feel a little bit flustered in the Teams environment, we've often done these in Zoom in the past. So Jackie will also be our moderator today, so she'll be passing me some questions that you may write in. I do have a PowerPoint today, but I'll only be doing the first few slides of that because I will be doing real-time demonstrations. So I see no point in kind of going back and forth between a PowerPoint and this. We can provide you with this PowerPoint and export of this into Word and a very detailed resource sheet that we've created summarizing basically all the processes that I'm going over today. So I just wanted to mention those. A couple more opening remarks and information. This is part of a series of webinars that we have. Some are quite technically oriented like this one. Fairly recently, I did another one on leveraging the assistive technology tools built into Windows 10 and 11. Others are focused more on accessibility for the organization, for the assistive technology user. Just a little background about TCS. I see we have some return customers here who may be already familiar with us, but just wanted to mention we are an accommodation services company. Been around since 1982, based in Silver Spring, Maryland, just outside of DC. And we are steeped in all things accessibility. We believe all people deserve equal access. And we have been at what I call the coal face of accessibility, where we're providing what I call the last mile of accessibility. You have a real person, real disability, real challenges, and you need to have some solutions, training and support for that individual, whatever situation they're in, whether at work, they're at home, or school. Some people mistakenly think that we only work with people with low vision and blind. Well, that's not true at all. We work with pretty much all disabilities. And we have a special program called I Can Connect that focuses actually specifically on persons who are deaf and blind. But we do work with people with mobility challenges, combinations of disabilities, and so forth. Okay. So in addition to the very specific work we do around accessibility for individuals, we do work, as I said, with organizations who may be struggling with this DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the A in that, the accessibility. So we do work at the organizational level as well. So a few just other comments. This webinar assumes you have kind of a beginner to intermediate knowledge of how to use a screen reader. I will be using some terminology like the virtual PC cursor. I will be using JAWS in my demonstration. That said, this webinar is meant to be somewhat universal in that the Google shortcuts I'm showing will work regardless of whether you use a screen reader or not. And so I've mentioned, there are certain keystrokes for Teams here. So I'm going to go to my next slide here in my PowerPoint just to review the outline, what I'm going to be covering today. We have a description of those two basic views of that we can use in Gmail. There's the basic HTML view and then the standard view, and what the differences are between them. Of course, we'll be looking at the various basic email processes that one might use most often in Gmail and the associated keystrokes. And then we'll be also talking a little bit about the configuration of Gmail for the screen reader user and going over quite a few features available in the Google Calendar. I'm going to go to the next slide. So the backdrop of all this is that the Google Workspace, I think is the latest term for it, is becoming more prevalent in industry and government. There are many advantages to using the native Gmail application versus, say, having your Gmail show up in Microsoft Outlook. So there are a lot of benefits to being able to just use Gmail in its own native application, and a lot of folks do need training in this application. A lot of people might be more used to using Outlook or even the basic HTML view, and so they have included a lot of great keyboard shortcuts for using that standard view. I'm going to go to the next slide. So what are those key differences between the standard view and basic HTML? Well, basically, in that basic HTML, which is still available, it's really the first link that you hear. If you were to go to the top left of your Gmail screen and you hit the down arrow, you would hear that basic HTML button that could potentially shift you from standard view to that view. Well, it's really a cut down the basic HTML view where it's lacking some key features. They're really not doing any improvements or updates to it. It lacks a spell checker. It lacks its own keyboard shortcuts, various capabilities for formatting, versus the standard view. They're going to keep developing. They're going to be incorporating more AI into that, and more keystrokes and more features. So I'm a big advocate for people not using something completely separate, but the same application that everyone else is using. Let's see, I'm going to go to my next slide here. So I think I'm going to depart from my PowerPoint from this stage and start to go more into my demonstration. I'm going to press my escape key, leave my presentation mode. I'm going to Alt-Tab over to my Gmail, and I wanted to begin with a description of the layout of Gmail for those who might not be familiar with it. Just a high-level layout. There's 4 or 5 key areas to the Gmail application. So starting with the extreme left side, there's a vertical pane of all of the different folders in Gmail that I can access, and Gmail, Google calls these labels. At the very top of this vertical list is a fairly large button that says Compose, and above that is something called the main menu button, and that will actually collapse this vertical list of labels or folders. So I get a little bit more real estate for my email section. So to the right of that is what JAWS identifies as a grid, or a table with all of my emails. And just to note that each of these emails on that row starts with a checkbox. It's not always immediately apparent that each of those has a checkbox at the very beginning. At the extreme right edge of my screen, I have a small vertical strip of icons, at the top of which is the Google Calendar. And at the very bottom is a hide side panel button, so I can make this little side panel go away. At the very top of my Gmail application is all important search bar, which I will go into for searching for various things within your emails. There is a support button, and then there is the Google settings button and the Google Apps button, and then your account. So just a little bit of a tour of what the Gmail screen actually looks like. Folks, now most of what I'm teaching today is very intuitive from a keyboard shortcut perspective, but the name of the game here, the key is knowing when to enable or disable what we call the virtual PC cursor if you're using JAWS to really have the best experience. So you're going to have to be able to kind of know what when you want to have the virtual PC cursor on and off, so that you kind of know you're going to have that best experience. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my JAWS.
Full speech.
Okay, so I'm going to just do a quick test here to make sure my focus is correct.
Harris Rosenzweig, apple pear crisp recipe.
Okay, so I'm in my inbox right now, and so the state of my virtual PC cursor right now is off. And that's really what you want it to be, so that I can just press my down arrow and hear each email and be able to skim my inbox as I would expect. If my virtual PC cursor were on, JAWS would treat this as a table, and it would go across each email and read me each object within that email, which is not exactly how I'd probably like to hear this, but there may be times when you might want to do that. But initially, when we first come in, fortunately, JAWS does turn off the virtual PC cursor, so I can just press my down arrow.
Harris Rosenzweig. Unread. Harris Rosenzweig.
And just skim my inbox. So equally important to the knowing of which state my virtual PC cursor should be in for the different processes here is that keyboard shortcuts in the settings. I'm not going to go in the settings. It's this gear, the settings gear on the screen. It is a button that if you were to bring up a list of buttons or go to the top of your screen and hit B as in button, you would eventually get to the settings button. And then it's somewhat involved. I have this on my resource sheet for you. All of the suggested settings, but most importantly, folks, the keyboard shortcuts, it's a radio button, is set to on, and that you save your settings. It's not enough to just turn it on. You have to come down to a button that says save. Okay. So those two things to start off with. So let's open an email and try to read it. So I'm going to go up to here to a sample email.
Harris Rosenzweig, apple pear crisp recipe, has attachment, August 26th. Hi, Harris.
And I will do my best not to talk over the screen reader. I'm going to press enter to open this email.
Enter. Main region, apple pear crisp recipe heading level 2, conversation open 1 read message.
Okay, so I've opened my message, and now this is when I want to turn on my virtual PC cursor to be able to read this email. If I did not have it on, when I press the down arrow or the up arrow, it would only move the screen up and down and not give me any speech feedback. So very important. This is where you want to turn it on. So I'm going to press Insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
Okay, it was already on, so I'm going to turn it back on because I just turned it off. Insert Z again.
Use virtual PC cursor on.
Okay, now that it's on, I feel confident I can press the down arrow.
Search for all messages with label inbox button. Remove label list of 1 items. Heading level 3 Harris Rosenzweig. Attachments graphic. Saturday. Not starred checkbox reply button. More button meant to me. Show details but reply more. Hi Harris. Enjoy this yummy dessert, Tom.
Okay, if you were listening, you may have noticed, boy, that was a lot of down arrows, Harris, just to get to the body of the email. I have found that the only way I can shave off a little bit of that is when I get into the email, make sure my virtual PC cursor is on. I press H for heading, it would jump to my name. And then I have maybe just a couple more down arrows to go. I have reported this some time ago to Google. I wish they would give us a way to quickly jump to the body of the email so I didn't have to hit all those down arrows. I will pause after I get through a little bit more to allow you to ask some questions as well. Okay, so now let's say I'm like, okay, I'm through with this email. I want to go back to my inbox. I'm going to press Alt left arrow.
Back. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows. Harris Rosenzweig. Apple Pear Crisp.
Okay, so where would you expect it to land when I did Alt left arrow, which is not a JAWS command, it's not a Google command, it's just a browser command to go back to the previous web page? Well, I would want it to land on the email that I opened. I wouldn't want it to go to the top. I would want it to land there, and indeed it has. So I'm happy about that. Good job, Google. So if I wanted to go to the topmost email in this list, if I was in Outlook, I would press Control Home. But here in Gmail, I can use a Google shortcut, G, then the letter I, stands for Go to Inbox. So I'm going to try that now, G-I.
G-I, unread, Harris Rosenzweig, FW: Teams shortcut keys for meeting attendees.
Okay, so when I did that, it jumped me to the very first email in my list. And that GI is fantastic. I could be inside an email and then hit GI and immediately go to the top of my inbox. So that's a super handy one. I use that all the time. So let me go down to perhaps another email, and let's look at how we would do replies. I'm going to press the down arrow one time.
Unread, Harris Rosenzweig, FW: webinar on Gmail commands for screen, reader users, and others.
Okay, I'm going to press enter to open this.
Enter. Conversation open 1 unread message, main region, FW: webinar on Gmail commands for screen, reader.
I'm going to quiet that. And I'm going to make sure my virtual PC cursor is on, insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
Okay, it was on. I'm happy. It doesn't always happen that it automatically turns it on, but I'm happy that it did. So I'll make sure it's on, insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor on.
And this time I'm going to press the letter H to try to shave off a little bit of down arrows. H for heading.
Harris Rosenzweig, heading level 3.
Okay, so my name, who it was sent to, is where my virtual PC cursor is. I'm going to press the down arrow.
12:11 p.m. left. Not start reply but more button to me. Show detail reply more. Hi Harris, blank. I'm excited about your webinar this afternoon. I understand that the keystroke commands will also work if you don't have a screen reader. I'm definitely going to tell my boss about it.
Okay, so great. We've read the email. Now I want to reply. So I have the choice of 2 Google shortcuts. I can press the letter R for reply if it's just to one person, or the letter A to reply to all. In Outlook, that would be Control-Shift-R. Or Control R for a simple reply if that was an Outlook. So I'll press the letter A just for grins to reply to all.
There are no radio buttons on this page.
I'm glad that happens. I should have turned off my virtual PC cursor. Why? Because when I pressed the letter A, it assumed I wanted to go to a radio button because that's what it would do if I was using JAWS, right? So I want to use a Google shortcut. So I'm going to press insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
So I have to turn off the virtual PC cursor to use a Google shortcut. So I want to press the letter A.
A, list, with 1 items, Harris Rosenzweig, 12:11 p.m. left paren.
Okay, so pressing the letter A automatically put Harris Rosenzweig in the reply field and brought me to the body field. My text cursor is flashing ready for me to go.
Hi, H, A, S, comma, and enter. W.
Okay, so I've typed my reply there. I could at this point tab to the send button, or I could hit one of my favorite hotkeys, Control Enter, which will press the send button for me without having to tab there. Always a big fan of saving keystroke commands, but I'll tab.
Send left paren, Control dash enter right paren button.
Oh, it told me it's Control Enter. That's good. It's only 1 tab away, so no big deal. I'm not really saving much by doing that. So I'm going to press the enter key, and then I want you to listen.
Enter, F alert, cancel, alert, undo, message sent undo, Z, undoing ... Send.
What just happened there? So I pressed enter on send, and then I heard undo. So if I press the letter Z, some of you familiar with Control Z to undo in Microsoft products. If I hit the letter Z in a prescribed amount of time, in the settings, you can set this. Mine is set to 20 seconds. You can change that 25. I can't remember other time intervals you can have. But if you hit that Z, it won't send it. It's like, oh no, I didn't mean to send that. I wish I could do that in Outlook a little more. So really handy Z for undo, but have to do it within 20 seconds on my machine. So I'm going to discard this draft, and there's a hotkey for that, Control-Shift-D.
Control-Shift-D, FW:webinar on Gmail commands for screen, reader users, and others - access stream at gmail.com - Gmail document, draft discarded.
Okay, I was waiting for it to say draft discarded. Thank you, Google. Okay, so now let's say I want to forward this same email, which is still up on the screen. I'm just going to press the letter F.
F, main region, list, with 1 items. This message was replied to, Harris Rosens.
So I'm in the to field. Who do you want to forward this message to, Harris? And I'll type to my colleague Ben, B-E-N.
B extended select list box, not selected, Ben at xaxis.com.
I'll press enter on Ben.
Enter, main region, list, with 1 items. This message was replied to, Harris.
So now visually, folks, I see CC, BCC. Somewhere down and to the right of where I am, where I typed in my colleague Ben's address. And but if I tab, there's no way to tab to these things. They're just there visually. So there's a hotkey I have to use. If I want to do CC, I'm going to press Control, Shift, and C.
Control Shift C, search field extended select list box, edit combo collapsed horizontal.
Unfortunately, did not say CC. I'm going to try to read my current line, insert up arrow.
Blank.
It says blank. So not the greatest, but that is the hotkey for producing the CC field. I'll type in my colleague Matt.
M extended select list box, not selected, Matt Belcher, Matt at Xax, enter, main region.
If I want BCC, I need to press Control Shift B.
Control Shift B, search field extended select list box, edit combo collapsed horizontal.
Again, I wish it would say BCC so I could put someone in the BCC field there. I have emailed the support for Google. I said, please, is there a way that you could have these up all the time, CC and BCC, or you could have a switch so that I can just tab and I can know I can get to CC or BCC rather than having to hit this keystroke every single time. So no response yet on that. So if I tabbed once out of the BCC field.
Message body edit.
And I could type I'm in my message body, I could type my message and go ahead and send it. I'm going to delete this draft as well with Control, Shift, and the letter D.
Control Shift D, FW:webinar on Gmail commands for screen, reader users, and others - access stream at gmail.com - Gmail document, draft discarded.
Okay. So I wanted to pause. Oh, nope. I'm going to do one more, compose. I'm going to compose. What letter do you think would be composed? Well, the letter C. I'm going to press the letter C.
C, compose : new message dialog, edit combo collapsed.
I'm going to type to my colleague
B
Ben.
extended select list box, not selected, Ben at Xaxis.
Pressing enter.
Enter, compose : draft saving.
And this time I'm just going to tab to subject.
Compose : new message dialog, subject edit.
Okay. Checking in. I'm going to tab to the body field.
Compose : checking in dialog, message body.
I'll type a quick email to him. I want to point out something here.
comma, enter, A-O-W space. Suggested text, how are you?
Okay, suggested text, how are you? Okay, so my typing of how is there in dark black letters, and then kind of in faint gray letters is are you ? That's Google's suggestion. That a lot of people usually type that. So how would I just save myself the typing and enter are you? I just press the tab key.
Inserted suggestion, how are you?
Good job, Google. You told me that you inserted are you ? So very good. I can
enter.
keep typing.
W-A-T space
What is your-
V-A-I-L-A-B-I-Y. Question enter T-A-K-E space C-E comma and A-R-S.
All right, I wasn't able to produce another suggestion, but that's very handy. Can help speed up your typing, or it can be annoying. I have it on in my settings under something called Smart Compose. So if you leave that on, you'll get these suggestions. If they annoy you, you can turn them off in the settings. Again, I'm going to delete my draft with Control Shift and D.
Control Shift D. Draft discarded. Undo. None.
Okay, I am going to pause for questions. At this time, any questions? If you you can either raise or lower your hand with Control Shift K, or just go into the chat, Control Shift R.
Oh, we do have a question
Any
here.
questions?
Give me 1 second, Harris. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
from Caitlin. Caitlin's hand is raised. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute Caitlin. Okay, Caitlin, you should be able to speak now. Not hearing Caitlin.
While we're waiting, Harris,
Hi, Con.
it's been a while.
Yes.
We'll catch up some other time for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, insert Z, is that also considered the pass-through key? Is that the same?
No, you're testing my knowledge on that. Pass-through key is a different JAWS keystroke, and someone can chime in on that. Insert Z, my understanding is just to change the state of the virtual PC cursor.
Okay. Yeah, I found, because obviously we run up against Google keyboard shortcuts versus JAWS, and that's an important distinction, right? Because if it's JAWS cursor, then it thinks it's a command for it and not for the actual. So that's, maybe I just started calling it a pass-through key, but that is insert Z where it switches it to a PC
That's
cursor.
right. That's right. And that's a good way to put it. You're either using JAWS mode commands like H for heading or A for radio button or whatever. Or when it's off, you're using Google's shortcuts. So it's allowing Google shortcuts to kind of pass through in a way. It's one way of looking at it.
Hey, Harris, that pass-through keystroke is insert and then 3 on the number row.
Thank you, Jeff. That's our colleague, Jeff, coming to the rescue. Insert and numpad 3. And then the very next keystroke you would press would be pass through. Any other questions before I continue with the demonstration?
Harris, can you give any tips to Caitlin on how to unmute? Oh, it looks like she's unmuted now. Caitlin.
Control Shift M as in Mike.
There's Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
So can you clarify again, like, do you have to turn on the PC cursor to use the shortcuts?
Right. So it's actually the virtual PC cursor that you're turning off to be able to use the Google shortcuts like A or R or G and then I and a few others I'm about to show you. So yeah, that's the key, is when you do insert Z and it says virtual PC cursor off, you're good to go for Google shortcuts.
And can you repeat again how to set the shortcuts?
To turn them on?
Yeah.
So that would be through the settings wheel, which is on the Gmail screen. And I have all of this in my resource sheet. you have to first go into the settings wheel, and then you have to go to all settings, which is a button close to it after you open it, and then it's on the general tab. There's many different tabs, so I have that in my resource document of how you get there to turn them on in the first place, because none of them will work unless it's on. So it's a good question.
Okay.
But
And
if
will you be sending that out to us with the recording?
Yeah, Jackie, yeah, that's
yeah.
our,
Yep.
yeah.
Definitely. We'll do that right after, Caitlin.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay,
Can
given
you just remind everyone, I don't see any more chat comments, but maybe
Yes.
afterwards you can.
Okay, I mean, any keystrokes or?
I don't see any more chat
Okay.
comments or anything. So if you want to remind everyone how to make a chat comment using keystrokes.
So that should be opening the meeting chat should be Control Shift and R. R is in Romeo. There is the raise or lower your hand, which is Control Shift K. Never saw the letter K in the word hand, but okay.
If you want to keep going, Harris, I'll just keep an eye out.
I think I'm gonna keep rolling here. Okay, so make sure I think my focus is still back in my Gmail. We'll know in a minute here. So now, folks, I want to go back to my inbox. I have an email that's open right now. I'm going to press G and then the letter I, not them together, G and then the letter I.
G, I. Main region, grid with 8 columns and 50 rows, unread, Harris Rosenzweig, FW : team shortcut keys for meeting attendees, 12:12 p.m.
Okay, so it indeed brought me from the email that I was reading to the top of my inbox by GI or go to inbox. Very handy Google shortcut. So if I want to say go to an email and reply to it, and I don't really feel like I need to open it to read it, I'm going to go down to one here.
Harris Rosenzweig, Gmail resources, has attachment, August 24th. Hi.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I need to respond to this person, and I don't need to open it. I can use my app key. That's APP. If you don't know what that is, not every keyboard has it. If you have an external keyboard, one of those big ones for desktops, usually, it's usually the third key to the right of the space bar, and it's basically used as a right click is actually what it does. If you don't have that, you can press Shift F10 for the equivalent. So I'm going to hit my app key, APP.
Applications, selected, Harris Rosenzweig, Gmail resources, has attachment, August 24th. Hi, Mr. Train. Please see attached the documents you requested.
All right, so unfortunately, it's going to start reading this entire email again before it gets to this vertical list of tasks that I can do since I hit the app key. So I'm just going to press my down arrow.
Reply all, 2 of 15.
The very first item in this list is
reply.
So I've got
reply all, forward as attachment, archive, delete, mark as.
I've got a lot of different options just by hitting my app key on this particular email inside my inbox. I can go down to something called move to.
Add to tasks. Move to black right pointer submenu. 10 of 15.
So it says it has a submenu, and as a screen reader user, I know submenu means I press the right arrow to open it.
Groceries, 1 of 9. Groceries, 1 of 11.
So this is like moving something to a folder, and it played the first folder, which is groceries. If I wanted to search for a folder, I'm on this search line, so I can just type in, say, TCS Access folder,
TC,
and I'll press the down arrow.
Quote TCS Access.
And so if I pressed enter, I would move this email to my TCS Access label or folder. Okay. So I'm going to press escape. Oh, no, escape one time.
Move to black right pointer submenu.
I'm going to go down a few from this move to, and I'm going to see what else is there.
Label as black right pointing pointer sub mute 12. Find emails from Harris Rosenzweig 13 of 15.
Okay, find emails from Harris Rosenzweig. That could be very, very useful. I also have right below that.
Find emails with this subject 14 of 15.
Find emails with the subject.
Find emails from Harris Rosenzweig 13 of 15.
I'm going to press enter on this.
Enter. Leaving menus. Inbox left paren 121 right paren dash xaxisstrain at gmail.com dash gmail document. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows. Unread. Harris Rosenzweig.
So it brings up a list of all the emails sent to me by Harris Rosenzweig. I'll press the down arrow.
Harris Rosenzweig. Harris.
And it just takes me through that list. Very, very handy. I'm going to now press Alt left arrow, basically to go back to my previous page.
Back. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows. Harris row.
So it brings me back to my inbox before I did that search. Okay. So now we're going to talk about deleting emails. So it's very simple to do. As I mentioned earlier, there is a checkbox at the very beginning of each email. So now let's say I want to go and delete 1 or 2 emails. I'll come down a few.
Starred. Unread. Google. Your Google account was recovered successfully.
So if I want to delete that one, I press the letter X, which is also, interestingly, for JAWS. If you're using JAWS, X is go to the next checkbox if you're using JAWS commands.
X. Selected. Starred. Unread.
It said selected as soon as I hit the letter X. I'll go down to the next email.
Starred. Google Accounts team. Updating your Google account and activity policy.
I'll delete this one too. I'll press the letter X.
X. Selected. Starred.
And so the hotkey to delete all of the emails that I've checked the X with, if checked, is the pound sign. Not the most user-friendly one, but if I were to do Shift and 3, which is the pound sign, it would delete both of those emails. I'll do that right now.
Number. Starred. Unread. The Google account. TCS. Finish setting up your Galaxy Tab S3 device with Google. July 3rd. Finish set dash up row. 2 conversations moved to trash. Z.
Okay. I was too late. I had 20 seconds to hit the letter Z to undo my move to trash, and I wasn't in time. So those are in my trash now. I could probably go in and retrieve them though. So again, X to mark an email, to check an email, and then pound sign to delete, Z to undo if you need to. Let's go and look at some attachments. How would I open attachments or email with attachments? So I'm going to go up to one.
Harris Rosenzweig, Gmail resources, has attachment, August 24th.
I'll press enter to open that.
Enter. Main region, Gmail resources. Contains text, conversation open 1 read message.
Okay, so again, because I've opened an email and I want to start using JAWS commands, here's where I need to switch to have the virtual PC cursor on. I'm not sure what state it is. I always check insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor on.
Okay, this time it didn't automatically turn it on like in prior times. So here I know there's a download all attachments button from doing this so much. So I could press the letter B until I hit the download all attachments button, or I could use a JAWS hotkey to bring up a list of all buttons, Control, Insert, and the letter B. A little bit hard to on the stretch to do that one. I'll just press the letter B until I hear download all attachments.
Search for all remove label reply but more button show details but download all attachments button.
Ah, there it is. Download all attachments button. I'm going to press the enter key.
Enter list with 1 items. Roam upbox brainstorm ss shortcut doom fun with typeability sc dash type.
And I have set up my Chrome browser so that whenever I'm downloading stuff, it asks me, well, where do you want to save it, Harris? I'm going to press my insert up arrow to read my current line.
Mail resources.zip.
Okay, I'll press insert tab to get a little more information.
File name : edit combo. Mail resources.zip.
Okay, file name, edit combo. It left me at a place where I could name this zip file because I have multiple attachments, and it gives me the opportunity to choose the folder I want to save it in. So a little demonstration regarding attachments, whether you had one attachment or multiple attachments. I'm going to press the escape key.
Escape. Gmail resources dash access stream at gmail.com dash gmail dash Google Chrome dash Harris Unavailable.
Okay, I'm going to press Alt left arrow.
Back. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows. Harris rows.
To go back to my inbox. And now let's explore the search feature. So to do this, I just press the slash key. That's also where the question mark is, but just the slash key on its own.
Slash. Banner region. Search region. Search mail edit has pop up.
Okay, so I'm now in this search mail edit field. I'm going to type in the word Microsoft.
Microsoft.
And I'll press enter.
Enter. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 30 rows. Microsoft OneDrive. Your OneDrive is about to be deleted.
Okay, so where would you expect the focus to be when I press enter? Well, of course, on the first search term. Good job, Google. And if I press the down arrow, I go to the next one.
Unread. Microsoft. Updates to our terms of use.
And so forth. So there are many other cool searches I can do. I'm going to press the slash again.
Slash. Banner region. Search region.
And it's selected Microsoft, so I'm going to type right over top of that. I'm going to type in unread.
UNREAD.
Unread. I'm going to press enter.
Enter. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 3 rows. Harris Rosenzweig. Gmail.
These are all the unread emails. And it just put them in a list, and I could go down them and then read each one. So a very handy search, one of many types of search that you can do searches for attachments or all kinds of searches. So I'm going to press GI to go back to the top of my inbox again. That's a Google shortcut.
GI. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows. Unread. Harris Rosenzweig.
So I'm back at the top of my inbox where I'd like to be. So a couple of go to folder commands, very convenient commands. In Microsoft Outlook, I would have to press Control Y and then navigate a box to go to a specific folder. If I wanted to go to the sent items folder, I press G and then the letter T.
G, T. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 37 rows. To Colin Harris. Dinner party from Gmail.
Okay, so it didn't say sent box, but I know I am at the top of my sent items box. If I want to go to my drafts folder, I press GD.
GD. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 19 rows. Draft. Test email. August 20.
Okay, so I went to the drafts folder, and then if I wanted to pick a folder, I can press GL for label. Go to label
GL. List with 7 items. Label inbox left parang 120.
If I press the down arrow, it gives me choices of the different labels or folders I could go to.
Label star left parang 28 right. Label snoozed. Label important left parang 48 right.
I'm just pressing the down arrow here. So that way I can go to any of the folders that I have set up. I'm going to press the escape key.
Escape. Virtual PC cursor.
And then press GI.
Rapid. There are no list items on this page.
So I messed up again, folks. I had the virtual PC cursor on. To do GI, it should be off. And this is what is a challenge. I admit it's a challenge. It's like, oh my God, I have to keep turning it on and off at different times. Insert Z.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
Now I'll press GI.
GI. Banner region. Escape. GI. Main region. Grid with 8.
Okay. So all of you JAWS scripters out there, if you know JAWS scripters, if you could get this to automatically turn the virtual PC cursor on when you open an email and automatically make sure it's off when you're in email and you want to do these other things, that might be a good thing. All right, so I wanted to, we have a bit more to do. I wanted to show you contacts very quickly. So I'm going to press G and then the letter C. So I'm going to make sure my virtual, I'll just go for it, GC.
GC. Google Contacts - Google Chrome - Harris. Google Contacts document. Use
The thing to know here, folks, is that it's opened a separate tab. So I have my Gmail tab is my first tab, and now it's opened a Contacts tab. And for me to navigate this, if I wanted to just see, well, who's in my contacts, I'm going to hit H for heading.
Contacts left paren 5 right paren heading level 1.
And then there's a vertical list of contacts right below me. So I'm going to press the down arrow a few times.
Select contact checkbox bob.smith@yahoo.com button.
And then there's some options after Bob Smith before I get to the next one.
Send mail link bob.smith@yahoo. Star contact button. Edit contact button. More actions button menu. Select contact check Harris Rosenzweig button.
Okay, so I could go down. There is a create contact button. So there's a lot of different features here that are fairly intuitive. Okay. I do have instructions even in my resource sheet about how to create a distribution list. So a lot more information in that resource sheet. I'm going to press Control W, which is a browser command, to close Google Contacts tab.
Inbox left paren 120 right paren dash xaxisstream@gmail.com dash gmail dash Google Chrome dash Harris. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows. Unread. Harris rows.
All right, so I'm back in Gmail. And before I jump to calendar, I wanted to show you, to get help about the various keystroke commands is the question mark. So I'll do Shift question mark.
Quest alert. Keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts. Open in a new window, vertical bar, close. Open in a new window, vertical bar, close.
And here I'd have to have my virtual PC cursor on.
Use virtual PC cursor on. Table with 2 columns and 21 rows, nesting level 1, blank. Compose and chat. Shift plus ESC colon. Focus main window. ESC colon. Focus latest chatter, compose.
And so forth. So this is just a big table of all the different commands. And I brought this up with question mark or Shift question mark. I'll press the escape key.
Escape. Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50.
Okay, so now I just wanted to move on to the Google Calendar, which is the last topic, and hopefully allow a few moments for questions. So the Google Calendar is in this sidebar in the extreme right corner of our screen, and I can navigate to this little strip, this little vertical strip, by pressing Control Alt and the comma, or Control Alt and period. I'll do that now. I'll do Control Alt period.
Alt Control period. Side panel complementary region. Tab. Calendar tab. 1 of 5.
Okay, so I've immediately jumped to the Google Calendar. I'm going to press Enter.
Enter. Calendar tab panel. Calendar heading level 2. Inbox left paren 120 right paren dash xaxisstream@gmail.com dash Gmail document.
And I'm just going to quiet my speech there. It brings up a vertical strip. It's an agenda view. So I'm going to press the Tab key first.
Calendar tab panel. Calendar frame. Main region. Wednesday, August 30th, 2023.
So this is for today, Wednesday, August 30th. I'm going to press Tab a few times to here.
Open a new tab link.
Open a new tab, because this is just a small strip, vertical strip, just to the right of my Gmails.
Close button.
Close button.
Today, Wednesday, August 30th button. Wednesday.
Okay. Tells me it's today. I'm going to tab one more time.
Options button menu.
Options, and then
Schedule. Grid with 97 columns and 4 rows.
And then I'll just press the down arrow.
Wednesday, August 30th. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Draft proposal with team. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Gmail class withdraws users. TCS access. No location.
So I'm just pressing the down arrow to go through this kind of agenda view. What do I have today? It would go to the following day, and so forth and so forth. If you wanted to interact a little bit more with your calendar, folks, you may want to open this up in its own tab. So I'm going to Shift Tab quickly back to the Open in a New Tab button.
Options. Today. Close button. Open a new tab link.
I'm going to press Enter on Open in a New Tab link.
Enter. Google Calendar. Google account : TCS access left paren xaxisstream@gmail.com right paren button. Google Calendar - week of August 13th. To Google.
Okay, so it's opened up my calendar in a new tab. Still have my Gmail tab open as well, but this is right next to it. And folks, this often the JAWS focus is in some weird place, and I need to kind of resync this up. I'm in week view right now. So sometimes when I switch the view from week view to day view and then back, I'll hit D for day.
Skip to main content button.
Oh, I need to turn my virtual PC cursor off to use a Google shortcut.
Use virtual PC cursor off.
Then press the letter D.
D. Main region. grid with 1 columns and 2 rows. Monday, August 14th, column header. Monday, August 14th, column 1, row 1.
Okay, so now it's synced things up for JAWS. It's now put my focus on August 14th, the 14 of August 14. And this is a much better place for me to start. If I press the tab key,
10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Management meeting, TCS Access.
I can go to my very first appointment. If I were in Outlook and I press the tab again, it would have gone right to the next day, to the next day's appointments. But here, that won't happen. I'm going to hit the letter W to go back to week view.
W, Google Calendar - week of August 13th, 2023 document.
I'm going to press the letter N to go to the next week.
N, August 21st, Google Calendar - week of August.
I'll press the letter N again.
N, August 28th, Google Calendar - week of August 27th, 2023.
Okay. And I have a feeling my focus is not where it's supposed to be again. I'm going to press the tab.
Main region, grid with 7 columns and 2 rows. Sunday, August 27th, column.
So here's another flaw I found, is that it does not put me on my very first meeting of this week. I have to tab across all these days.
Monday, August 20th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, August 28th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
I had to tab all the way across the days before I could get to my first Monday appointment, and then so forth.
Wednesday, August 30th, today, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., meeting with Jane.
Okay, so a couple of flaws here. I'd encourage you all to email Google about some of these flaws. So I've shown you day view, week. There's week view for W. If I type in A for agenda view, that's a nice view.
A, Google Calendar - schedule starting Monday, August 28th.
I can just press down arrow in this vertical list.
10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Management meeting, TCS.
Down arrow.
Wednesday, August 30th, today link, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
This is a great view, agenda view, because it is very accessible. It takes me to the very top, and I can just press the down arrow through. Let me go back to the week view with the letter W.
W, Google Calendar - week of
where I was tabbing through.
Monday, Tuesday, Monday, August 28th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Let's say I wanted to edit this appointment. I just press the letter E.
E, Google Calendar - event details document, main region, cancel event changes, title edit, management meeting.
So I can edit anything in this particular meeting. I'm going to press the escape key.
Escape, main region.
Another very handy hotkey, of course, is C for compose.
C, main region, title edit.
I'll say dentist.
T, save button, start date edit, August 20.
And as you can expect, what is the start date, the start time? And after I create that, I can press Control S to save that
Control S,
meeting.
main region.
Last couple of keystrokes, folks, here. If I want to go to a specific date, what would you think? Well, the letter G.
G, selected, August 30th.
And I could type in shorthand OCT for October and 9. And then press enter.
Enter, main region, grid with 7 columns and 2 rows. Sunday, October 8th, column header. Sunday, October 8th link.
Started me on Sunday, October 8th. It's probably how it's set to start on that day of the week. But I could type in a G,
selected,
and type in the word today.
TODAY. Enter, main region, grid with 7 columns and 2 rows. Sunday, August 27th, column.
Okay, something got off there. And then lastly, I can search for an appointment with a slash key again.
Slash, banner region, search edit combo.
I'll type in Jane.
J-E.
Enter.
Enter. Searching ... Main region, grid with 4 columns and 2 rows. Wednesday, August 30th, today link, column 1, row 2, search results to events found.
Okay, so it finds all the events with Jane in it. And the very last one is if you want to get help, Control/.
Keyboard shortcuts dialog, search edit.
I can search for a particular hotkey. So I'm going to leave it there. It's 1:55.
Escape.
I wanted to leave some time. I covered a lot of ground here for any questions that you have. Again, we can see how the importance of the virtual PC cursor is.
This is Deepa. I had a question.
Hi, Deepa.
Hey, I don't know. I don't think you covered this. I just wanted to know how to create a shared Google Calendar. If I wanted to create a shared calendar with me and my spouse or something, how do I do that?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know off the top of my head the sequence for that, but that's a good one. That would be a good one to take note of. Going to write that one down. Shared Google Calendar. Anyone else can chime in if you already know that. Shared. Any other thoughts or questions?
Quick question, Harris.
Hi, Joe.
You're mentioning how sometimes, oh, whoops. You were mentioning the focus, JAWS's focus when you pull up a new page may not be where you think it should be. I normally, out of habit at this point, whenever I pull up a page, I do Control Home to make sure that it's there. Is that the proper way, or is there a other way that you make sure that the focus is starting from the top?
Well, I guess it assumes you want the focus to start at the top. Like with the calendar here, I wish they would put the focus on the first appointment of that week. If you're in week view, for example, or if you're in day view, the first. But sometimes it just puts it in a funky place. And Control Home is a reasonable thing to do. So you anchor yourself at the very top left. But it's hard to say how many tabs or B buttons that you are away from the thing that you actually want to read. So it's a tough call for a screen reader user.
Gotcha.
Good question, though.
I'll try.
Hi, can I ask a question? It's Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
So I'm still a little confused about the virtual PC cursor. Did you say it needs to be off when you're using a Google shortcut and on when you're using a keyboard shortcut?
Correct. For a moment, forget about Gmail and pretend you're just on a Chrome and you're on a web page, American Council of the Blind, whatever. You're going to be using exclusively the virtual PC cursor to move around that screen using the navigation quick keys like B for button or H for heading or tabbing between links. That's exclusively as virtual PC cursor all day. But when you want to use someone else's keystrokes like Google's in Gmail or the calendar, you have to turn it off. Make sure it's off so that Google's keystrokes can take hold, can actually work.
Right. Okay. So the toggle for that is insert Z.
Correct. Z is in zebra.
Right. Oh, okay. And also, is there a way of quickly skipping between emails, like instead of like reading through the name and the subject, to just skip from like one person's name to the next?
Like, let me see here. I'm gonna go back to control.
Control 1. Inbox left paren 120 right paren dash xaxisdrain at gmail.com. Inbox F5. Gmail.
I'm just bringing my Gmail back into view here.
Main region. Grid with 8 columns and 50 rows.
So I press F5 to refresh my screen, and your virtual PC cursor should be off when you're in, if you're in Gmail right now, say in Chrome.
Unread. Harris Rosenswap.
So you should be able to just press down arrow. As long as the virtual PC cursor is off, you should be able to just press down arrow. But if it's on, it's going to read like all those little details, like the name, the title, the other little bits, how big it is, when it was sent. That's how you know your virtual PC cursor is probably still on.
Okay, yeah, I actually noticed that, like when I had my virtual PC cursor off,
Yep.
It was just reading the email as if like it would read in Outlook, like
yes,
straight.
and exactly. That's how most people will want to read their inbox, is just kind of so you can skim it down, 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 down. F5 to refresh your screen will often just do that for you and turn off the virtual PC cursor. So.
Oh, it would automatically.
Automatically, at least on my machine, reliably. Every time I hit F5, I can just hit down arrow, and I know that the virtual PC cursor is off.
Okay.
So
All
we
right,
are.
so I think that was pretty informative. Thank you.
Well, good. It's tough that way. It's tough that way because it's not so automatic. It's not so you have to be really aware. So we are at time. We will make sure folks get these resources, and please do, in there's a link to email Google support and have them like hammer them with fixing some of these bugs. We need to stick together. If they don't hear anything, they're not going to change anything. So if you can send them, they have a pretty good system of making it easy to send them a bug report. But yeah, let them know.
Okay, Harris, I don't see any other comments in the chat or hands raised. So like you said, we'll send this out after the meeting today. That should be it.
Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for the next webinar.
Take care.
Thanks, Harris.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, Harris.
Bye.